earth is it called water cycle? Is it a cycle made of water? That wasn't really funny at all. No more bad jokes, promise. Obviously, that's not what I'm talking about. Remember the antique water we spoke about earlier? So before I break the suspense on that, let's have some cold coffee. Why is it so wet? Oh my God, did you look at this? What are water droplets doing on my cold coffee? Where did it come from? In fact, how does the water droplets on my cold coffee and the water in the glass that we spoke about have anything to do with the water cycle? I'm asking you too many questions, am I not? I'm actually here to give you the answers. I'm the teacher, so here's the story. The earth has a limited amount of water. Yes, I've given you a crazy amount of detail on that. Haven't you wondered then why even though we use like 21 billion buckets of water every day, we still have some water left to continue our lives with? This is because the same water keeps going round and round around the world like a cycle. And this cycle has three main parts: evaporation and transpiration, condensation, and precipitation. Complicated words? Trust me, they're not. Let's talk about evaporation and transpiration first. To explain this, just look at what we're doing, okay? First, we'll take some water, mark the water level now, and now I'm going to fast forward this next bit because it's going to take some time. Watch what's happening as we're boiling the water. It's empty, right? What happened to all that water? It evaporated. Evaporation is the simple process of a liquid changing into a gas. Pretty simple if you think about it actually. Why does that happen? You wouldn't understand if you look at water like this. You need to zoom in and look at it like this. You see these little balls which make up water bouncing around, right? And when heat gets added, the balls start bouncing more and more vigorously, start going further and further apart. The bonds which are holding liquid water the way it is breaks apart and the gas is formed. You can actually understand this in complete detail in the chapter on heat. This even happens to all the water bodies around us. Evaporation takes place in the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, like everything. You know when you wash your clothes and leave them around dry? The water from your clothes evaporates into the atmosphere. That's why it dries. After a rainy day, all those lovely puddles which are found on the road, they don't stay there forever, do they? They evaporate into the atmosphere. But why don't these water bodies dry up then? Or do they? Well, of course they do. It's just that they're so huge that the total amount that dries up is really little compared to its size. And by the time that amount that has dried up becomes huge, it rains all over again and you're almost back to the level where you started. To summarize, you may have seen small lakes and ponds drying up, right? Sometimes even rivers do, or at least parts of them do till it rains again. The oceans and the seas are just too big to see this happen. It would take a really, really long time for them to just evaporate. We've done our bit, to stop evaporation from happening and preserving water. I'll tell you something interesting. Los Angeles officials have come up with a nice way to save a lot of water from evaporating by releasing millions of shade balls into the California reservoirs. So this would help prevent evaporation and save more water. Let's move to step 2 now. Transpiration. What exactly is transpiration? Since we look at Google for everything, I am going to ask Google for help here too. So if I look up transpiration, this is what it says. Transpiration is the process where plants absorb water. Okay, that's interesting. Through the roots. Okay, and then lose water as water vapor from the openings on their leaves. Okay, that's interesting. So let me club one and two. Evaporation and transpiration, the process of losing water from water bodies and plants is together referred to as, now this is fancy, evapotranspiration. And since you visualized it over here, it's actually simple, right? Naturally, the sun causes evaporation and transpiration all over the place all the time. On a hot day, this will be even faster. And if you put water on a stove or something like what we did to our vessel, the process will be even faster. Remember when I told you about the beginning of water on the planet and how any water near the sun would have vaporized as the sun was much hotter then? This was exactly what I was talking about.